What would you do if everyone said your stalker doesn't exist, but you keep finding proof he's real? I need to tell you about Daniel Morris because I still check my locker 3 times before I leave work, and it has been 8 months since I last saw him. My name is Ava Torres, and I am 25 years old. I work at the Silver Moon Diner off Interstate 76, about 40 minutes outside Denver. It is one of those places that never closes, where truckers stop at 3 in the morning for coffee and pie, where the neon sign flickers in a way that makes you feel like you are stuck in some old movie. The booths are cracked red vinyl and the floor tiles are that speckled pattern that hides stains. I have been working there for 2 years, pulling double shifts most weeks because my car died last April and I needed the money for rent. The walk home is about 30 minutes if I cut through the back roads. I get off at midnight most nights, sometimes later, and I walk alone with my keys wedged between my fingers like my mom taught me. The streetlights only cover about half the route. I tell myself it is fine, that plenty of people have it worse, that I will get another car eventually. Daniel Morris started coming in on Fridays around last September. He was so normal at first that I barely remember noticing him. Medium height, brown hair, maybe 30 years old, always wearing a gray jacket and jeans. He would sit in booth 7 by the window, order a grilled cheese with no pickles and a Coke, eat slowly while reading something on his phone, then leave. Polite. Quiet. The kind of customer you appreciate because he does not hit on you or complain about everything or leave a mess. After the 3rd week, I realized he always requested my section. After the 5th week, I noticed he always left exactly $7 as a tip, no matter what. The meal cost $6.49 with tax. He would pay cash, leave a $10 bill in 3 singles, and be gone before I could bring change. I mentioned it to Carla, my coworker, just as a curiosity. You know how waitresses talk, analyzing the regulars, making up stories about their lives. She said maybe he liked routine, that some people are just like that. I agreed and did not think much more about it. It was the 1st week of November when things shifted. Daniel came in on his usual Friday, ordered his usual meal, left his usual tip. But when I cleared the table, I found something else tucked under the receipt. A small silver hoop earring. My earring. The one I had lost 3 weeks earlier, the one I had torn apart my apartment looking for because they were a gift from my grandmother before she died. I stood there holding it, my hand shaking, trying to make sense of it. Maybe I had lost it at work. Maybe it had fallen out during a shift and he found it and recognized it as mine. That made sense, right? That was the logical explanation. Except I had not lost it at work. I remembered specifically. I had won into my friend Lily Hayes' birthday dinner on a Tuesday, my day off, and when I got home that night, only one was still in my ear. I had searched my apartment for an hour. I put the earring in my apron pocket and finished my shift, but my stomach felt tight and strange. When I got to the employee room to clock out, I opened my locker to put my apron away. Inside, on top of my jacket, was a folded piece of paper. My hands were trembling when I opened it. Block letters, written in blue pen. You looked pretty that night. The blue dress was a good choice. I had worn a blue dress to Lily's birthday. I showed Carla immediately. She looked at the note, then at me, and her face went pale. We told Marcus Hughes, the night manager, and he checked the security cameras. They showed Daniel coming in at his normal time, eating his normal meal, and leaving. Nothing unusual. No footage of him going near the employee area. The cameras do not cover the back hallway where the lockers are, Marcus explained, because they installed the system before they built that addition and never updated it. Marcus said he would talk to Daniel next time he came in. I said okay, but I felt sick. I went home that night and checked every lock twice. I slept with a chair propped against my bedroom door. The next Friday, Daniel did not come in. Or the Friday after that. I started to relax. Maybe Marcus had called him, warned him off. Maybe he had realized how creepy it was and felt ashamed. Maybe it was over. 3 weeks later, he was back. Same booth, same meal, same smile. He acted like nothing had happened. When I took his order, my voice came out thin and high. He said, grilled cheese, no pickles, and a Coke, please, exactly the way he always did. Like we were friends. Like this was normal. I told Marcus immediately. Marcus went over to the booth to talk to him, but I watched from behind the counter and Daniel just looked confused. I could not hear the conversation, but I saw Daniel shaking his head, saw Marcus looking back at me with an uncertain expression. When Marcus came back, he said Daniel claimed he had never left anything in my locker, that he would never do something like that there must be some misunderstanding. Did you believe him? I asked. Marcus hesitated. I do not know, Ava. He seemed genuine. But I told him we take this seriously and if anything else happens, he is banned. Daniel left his usual tip that night. Just the money, nothing else. But when I went to my locker at the end of my shift, there was another note. This time it was not inside the locker. It was taped to the outside, where anyone could see it. I would never hurt you. I just want you to know someone is watching out for you. Those walks home were dangerous. I could not breathe. I ripped the note down and shoved it in my pocket. Carla was not working that night, so I clocked out alone and practically ran to Marcus's office. He called the police. 2 officers showed up 40 minutes later, bored and skeptical. They took my statement, looked at the notes, asked if Daniel had ever threatened me directly. I said no. They asked if he had ever touched me or tried to follow me. I said I did not think so. One of them, Officer Jameson Reed, sighed and said, "Ma'am, I understand you are scared, but he has not actually committed a crime. Leaving notes is not illegal unless they contain explicit threats." "He has been in my apartment," I said. "He knew about my dress, about my earring." "Did you see him there?" "No, but..." "Then we cannot prove he was there. Could be someone else. Could be a coincidence." The other officers suggested I get better locks, maybe stay with a friend for a while. They took Daniel's name and said they would do a welfare check, see if he had any priors. Then they left. I did not sleep that night. The next day, I went to my landlord and he changed the locks. It cost me $150 I did not have. I bought a chain for the door and a baseball bat for beside my bed. I started varying my route home, taking different streets, sometimes walking an extra 15 minutes just to avoid patterns. For 3 weeks, nothing happened. Daniel did not come back. My locker stayed empty except for my things. I started to think maybe the police visit had scared him off. Then I worked a double shift on a Thursday in December, covering for Carla who had the flu. I got off at 2 in the morning, exhausted and dead on my feet. When I opened my locker, my breath caught. Inside was a photograph. Me. Asleep in my bed. In my new apartment, with the new locks. The photo was in full color, taken from inside my bedroom. I was on my side, one arm under the pillow, my face peaceful. The angle suggested someone standing at the foot of my bed. The timestamp in the corner said it was from 3 nights ago. I screamed. I could not help it. The sound ripped out of me and I dropped the photo and backed away from the locker like it might explode. Marcus came running, along with one of the cooks, Wyatt Anderson, and they found me sitting on the floor, shaking so hard I could barely talk. We called the police again. Same 2 officers showed up. This time they seemed more concerned, but Officer Reed kept asking questions that made me feel like I was the one being interrogated. How did I know someone else had not taken the photo? Did I have a boyfriend, an ex, anyone who might have access? Was I sure I locked my door that night? "It is him," I kept saying. "It is Daniel. He is stalking me." They took the photo as evidence. They said they would investigate. Officer Jameson said, "We will go talk to him, but Ms. Torres, I have to be honest. Unless we catch him in the act where he confesses, there is not much we can do. Your best bet is to stay somewhere else for a while." I did not have somewhere else. My parents lived in Texas, I barely made rent as it was, and my friends had their own lives. Louie offered her couch, but she lived an hour away and I could not get to work from there without a car. So I stayed. I pushed my dresser in front of the door. I slept in my clothes with the lights on. I called out of work the next 2 days because I could not function. When I finally came back, Carla pulled me aside. "Ava," she said, and her voice was strange. "Careful. I need to ask you something and I need you to really think about the answer. When Daniel comes in, when you see him in the booth, do I see him too? I stared at her. What? Just answer. Do I see him? Does Marcus? Does anyone else? Yes? I mean, Marcus talked to him. You have seen him. Carla bit her lip. Ava, I have never seen him. Not once. You have pointed him out to me half a dozen times, and every time you do, I do not see anyone sitting there. I thought you were stressed, maybe making a joke I did not get. But after all this, I started asking around. Nobody else has seen him either. The diner tilted. I grabbed the counter. That is insane. Marcus talked to him. Marcus went to his booth and talked to him. I asked Marcus about that. He said he went over because you told him to, but when he got there, the booth was empty. He thought maybe the guy had left. He did not want to upset you more, so he just said he talked to him. No, I said. No, that is not possible. His meal, the food, the money. The orders you put in for booth 7? Carla's voice was gentle, like she was talking to someone fragile. They just sit in the window. You bring them to the booth, you clear them later, but Wyatt says you are the only one who ever touches them. And the money? You are the only one who sees it. I could not breathe. The room was spinning. I am not crazy. I am not making this up. I know, Carla said, and she squeezed my hand. I believe something is happening to you. But Ava, I do not think Daniel is what you think he is. I left work that day and went straight to the police station. I demanded to see Officer Reed. When he finally came out, looking annoyed, I asked him what they had found out about Daniel Morris. He checked his computer, frowning. We do not have anyone by that name in our system. No address, no priors, nothing. Are you sure you have the name right? He told me his name. Multiple times. Did he show you ID? No, but... Miss Torres, is it possible you misheard him? Or that he gave you a fake name? I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked if they had checked the diner's payment records. He said they had requested them from Marcus, but there were no credit card transactions matching anyone named Daniel Morris. All of his payments had been cash. Cash that I saw, I insisted. Cash that I put in the register. Officer Reed looked at me with something like pity. Have you considered talking to someone? A therapist, maybe? Stress can do strange things. I walked out. I did not trust myself to speak. That Friday, I almost called in sick. But I needed the money, and some stubborn part of me wanted to prove I was not losing my mind. I worked the evening shift, jumping at every customer, checking over my shoulder constantly. Booth 7 stayed empty all night. At midnight, I clocked out. My locker was closed, locked like I had left it. I opened it slowly, braced for anything. My spare work uniform was inside, neatly folded. That was normal. I kept it there for emergency double shifts. But something was wrong with it. The fabric was stiff in places. When I picked it up, it unfolded, and I saw the stains. Blood. Dark and dried, covering the front of the shirt and the lap of the pants. My uniform. My blood. Underneath it were my house keys. The ones I had on my keychain that morning. The ones that should have been in my purse. And a note, written in the same block letters. You finally stayed late enough for me to clock out. I dropped everything. I ran. I did not grab my purse, did not clock out properly, did not tell anyone I was leaving. I just ran out the back door and into the parking lot, and I did not stop running until I was 6 blocks away, standing under a streetlight, sobbing and gasping and fumbling for my phone. I called Lily. She came and got me within the hour, and I have not been back to my apartment since that night. The police searched the diner and my apartment. They found nothing unusual. No signs of breaking and entering, no evidence of anyone else being in either location. The uniform I had dropped tested positive for blood, but it was too degraded to type. My keys were examined for prints, but they only found mine. The security footage from that night showed me opening my locker, standing there for a long moment, then running out. It did not show me removing anything from the locker. Officer Reed suggested, as gently as he could, that I might have hurt myself and not remembered it. That the stress might have caused a break. He recommended a psychiatric evaluation. I refused. I knew what I saw. I knew what happened. But I also knew no one believed me. I quit the Silver Moon Diner 2 days later, over the phone. I moved in with Lily and started applying for jobs closer to her place. I started seeing a therapist, not because I thought I was crazy, but because I needed someone to talk to who would not look at me like I was broken. It has been 8 months now. I have a new job at a coffee shop, decent hours, good coworkers. I sleep better, though I still check the locks twice and I will not sleep with my door open. Lily has been patient with me, never pushing, never questioning. Last week, I went to a different diner for breakfast with Lily. We were laughing about something, I cannot even remember what, and I glanced up at the booth across from us. Daniel Morris was sitting there. Same gray jacket, same polite smile. He was looking right at me. I grabbed Lily's arm. Do you see him? The man in the gray jacket, right there? Lily followed my gaze. Where? Right there. Booth across from us. Gray jacket. She looked at me, worried. Ava, there is no one there. I looked back. Daniel was still there. He raised his Coke glass to me, like a toast. Then he mouthed something I could read clearly. See you Friday. I have not gone back to any diner since. I work, I stay at Lily's, I see my therapist twice a week. I am getting better at managing the fear, at functioning despite it. My therapist says trauma can make us see patterns where there are none, that my mind might be creating Daniel as a manifestation of the danger I felt during those walks home, during those vulnerable moments. Maybe she is right. Maybe Carla was right. Maybe I experienced some kind of breakdown and Daniel Morris never existed at all. But if that is true, then I need to explain something I found last month. I finally went back to my old apartment to get the last of my things. The landlord had boxed everything up for me. Most of it was normal, expected. Clothes, books, kitchen supplies. But at the bottom of one box, wrapped in newspaper, I found something that made my blood stop. A coffee mug. One I had never seen before, never owned. It was white with red text that said Silver Moon Diner and underneath, in smaller letters, Employee of the Month. I was never Employee of the Month. They did not even have that program. I turned the mug over in my hands, and on the bottom, written in permanent marker, was a message. For Ava. For being the only one who could see me. Love, Daniel. I dropped it. It shattered on Lily's kitchen floor, and she came running, asking what happened. I told her it slipped. She helped me clean up the pieces, worried about my hands, about me cutting myself. I let her think it was an accident. I did not tell her what the mug said. I did not tell her that I finally understood. Daniel Morris was not stalking me because he was obsessed. He was stalking me because I was the only person who had acknowledged his existence in God knows how long. I was the only one who could see him, speak to him, interact with him. And when I stopped coming to the diner, when I stopped seeing him, I broke whatever connection we had. That should have been the end. That should have freed me. But now I see him other places. In coffee shops, in grocery stores, in crowds on the street. Always at a distance, always watching. And every single time, I am the only one who notices him. My therapist thinks I am relapsing. Louis thinks I need medication. Officer Reed, when I tried to file one last report, suggested a stay at a psychiatric facility might help me. No one believes me. No one sees him but me. And the worst part? I am starting to wonder if that was his plan all along. Not to hurt me. Not to scare me. But to make me the only person in the world who knows he exists. To trap me in a reality where I am his only witness, his only proof, his only connection to a world that has otherwise forgotten him entirely. Last Friday, I did not leave Lily's apartment. I stayed inside all day, doors locked, curtains drawn. I thought if I made it through Friday without going anywhere, without giving him an opportunity, maybe it would break the pattern. At midnight, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I opened the message. A photo. Me, sitting on Lily's couch, taken from outside the window. The curtains had been open for maybe 5 minutes around dinner. And a text underneath. Same time next week? I will order the usual. I have not told anyone about that message. What would be the point? They would just say I sent it to myself, that I am creating evidence of my own delusion. Maybe I am. Maybe they are right and I have lost my grip on reality so completely that I cannot tell what is real anymore. But I know what I am going to do this Friday. I am going to go to a diner. Any diner. I am going to sit in a booth and wait. And when Daniel Morris shows up, when he orders his grilled cheese with no pickles and his Coke, when he leaves his $7 tip, I am going to do something I have never done before. I am going to sit down across from him and ask him what he wants. Really wants. Not to leave me alone, not to stop haunting me, but what he wants from me specifically. Why me? Why he chose me out of everyone in the world to be the one person who can see him. Because I think I finally understand. He does not want to hurt me. If he did, he could have done it a dozen times over by now. He wants something else. Recognition. Acknowledgement. Proof that he is real. And I am the only one who can give him that. My therapist would tell me this is a terrible idea. Lily would try to stop me. The police would probably have me committed. But none of them understand what it is like to be seen by something that no one else can see, to be chosen by something that exists in the space between reality and whatever lies beyond it. This Friday, I am going to face Daniel Morris. I am going to look him in the eye and ask him what happens next. What he needs from me to finally leave me alone. Or if that is even possible anymore. Because the alternative is spending the rest of my life looking over my shoulder, seeing him in every crowd, never knowing if he is real or if I have created him from fear and isolation. And that is no way to live. So I will meet him one more time. I will hear what he has to say. And maybe, just maybe, I will find a way to end this. Or maybe I will become whatever it is he is, stuck between worlds, seen by only one person who will spend years trying to convince others I am real while slowly losing their own mind. Either way, I will have my answer. Either way, this will finally be over. One way or another.